Hi everyone, welcome to the video tutorial for the Black Lives Matter cat scarf. You can see Melba wearing hers here. We wanted to make just a really small gesture in solidarity to the Black Lives Matter movement, so this is what we came up with. So thanks very much for being here, take care and we'll catch you soon. Okay, the materials you'll need for this project include a black yarn. I'm using this one here. It's an 80% acrylic, 20% wool yarn, and you might be able to see on the camera there it's got a slight shine through it. You'll need a crochet hook. Now when working with black yarns, I recommend that you use a crochet hook that's slightly bigger than the usual hook you would use for the size of the yarn. So I'm using a 5.5 millimeter here, and this yarn usually I use around a 4 to 4.5 millimeter. So I'm going to use a 5.5 millimeter today for this yarn. A darning needle. So a tape measure to measure the circumference of your cat's neck and also the length of the scarf that you want, and some scissors to snip off your ends. Okay, the techniques that you'll need to know for making this Black Lives Matter scarf is how to slip knot onto your hook, how to create a chain, how to double crochet, and then how to weave in your ends. So it's beginner friendly. If you're not sure about some of those techniques, please check out another resource, either a book that you have or on YouTube. There's lots of videos that break down the individual techniques. So that's all you'll need to know for this project here, and let's get started. Okay, to get started, slip knot onto your hook and then chain 11. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So it's not going to be so easy for you to see my stitches on camera, and I apologize that the camera is moving around. Melba is moving it again. She's always interested in what I'm doing when I'm filming. So it's not going to be super easy to see the stitches with this black yarn. So hopefully my oral instructions will also help you to make this project. So we've chained 11. Now I'm going to show you one standard width, and then it's up to you how long you make this scarf. But it's basically a repeating pattern that you can make as long as you like. Okay, so for row 1, count 5 chains from your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And place a double crochet into that 5th chain. So when working with dark yarn, as I said before, it's ideal to use a crochet hook that's slightly larger than what your yarn calls for. It also helps to make an open weave pattern to break up, there's Melba, to break up the black. So this is going to be quite an open weave pattern. Okay, so what we've done, just to recap, we've done a turning chain here of 3 plus 2 that we're skipping, and we're working into the 5th chain from the hook, double crochet, then chain 1 and working a 2nd double crochet back into that same space. Okay, then skip 2 chains, so 1, 2, and work a double crochet into the 3rd chain along. Oops, that was distracting me. Okay, there we go. Chain 1 and then place a double crochet back into that same space. And then back into that same chain. So what you'll start to see is that we're creating these V's. Okay, they'll become clearer as we move along, but we're basically creating these V shapes. Okay? And then to finish row 1, we'll just locate, you should have 3 chains left. Locate the last chain and place a double crochet into that last chain. And that's row 1. Okay, so you can start to see there's a pattern emerging, and you'll see this pattern as we move through. We've got 2 V's and then a chain at one end, and then a double crochet at the other end. Okay, so to start row 2, which is the row that we'll be just repeating as we move along, chain 3, so that's our turning chain. Turn your work. Now locate that chain space in the center of the V. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. Of the V in the previous row, locate the chain space. So not the chain and not the stitches above the V, but the actual chain space. So we're going to work into that. So yarn over, double crochet into the chain space. Chain 1, just as before. And then work a second double crochet into that chain space, into that same chain space. Okay, so we've created our first V on that second row. And then move along to the next chain space. So not this center chain space here, or not this center space here. It's actually not a chain space, but not this center space here. This chain space in the middle of that second V, work a double crochet into that chain space. Chain 1. And then work a second double crochet into that chain space. Okay, so you can see that we're just repeating this V pattern in each row. And then find the third chain. So this is the turning chain here from that first row. And locate the third chain. So not the stitch, the third chain. And try to get through 2 loops if you can. Okay, you might just have to turn your work over slightly. Try and locate 2 loops. It's a little bit tricky for me to do it on this angle, but locate 2 loops. There's Melba, come to say hello. So I'll just get my hook through that second loop, and that'll just make it a little bit neater along the edges. So yarn oh, I forgot to yarn over. So it's a double crochet into that third chain. And that's row 2 completed. So you can see that we're creating this nice open weave pattern just out of all these little V's. So I'll do one more row with you on camera. So chain 3, turn your work, locate that chain space in the center of the first V, place a double crochet, chain 1. Then a second double crochet, creating the V. Move along to the next chain space. So you skip this center space, okay? So that just helps to, when we skip that space, it just helps to pull the V out a little bit on the work, and then it makes a more pronounced V shape. So double crochet into that next chain space, chain 1. So we're always chaining 1 in between those 2 double crochets that are going into that chain space of the row below. So hopefully that's starting to become clear, the pattern that we'll be repeating. And then once again find that third chain in your turning chain and try to get your hook through both loops and double crochet on the end there. And that's essentially it. And then you'll just work this pattern until you've found the length of the scarf that you want. So this one here, I like it to be a little bit longer, and then I can tie a little knot and have some tails hanging down. But you go to as far as you want to go. This one here is around 55 centimeters long. So you could make it longer, you could make it shorter, depending on what you prefer. So keep moving along until you've got to the length that you want, and we'll finish off together. Okay, so I've just done one more row there. So just pretend that I've done to the length that I want. So I'm not going to do the whole scarf today. I've already got one for Melba. So I've done to my 55 centimeters, and you will have done to the length that you want. And so just to finish off, as you would other projects, just yarn over and pull through. Take your scissors and snip off your yarn. Okay, so once you've snipped off your end, you'll be weaving in both the tails. So you only have 2 tails. So just thread your darning needle with your tail end. And then you'll just work your tail. I like to work them down these sides. You'll see that I've done that with this other tail. And then you can just, yeah, weave your tail through. You can go backwards and forwards. I don't tend to with these sort of tails because they don't need to be super secure. So I just tend to weave it down. But you know, you do whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to go back and forwards a couple of times, then certainly do that. And just be careful that you don't misshape your work. If you pull it too tight, you'll see that you'll misshape the edge. Just make sure you've flattened that out, and then you can just snip off your end. And you're done. So it's a really quick, simple project just to show your solidarity for the Black Lives Matter movement. And happy crocheting. Hope to see you soon. Please send your photos along to us. We would love to see them. catventurous.community@gmail.com, or you can tag us on social media at catventurous.community, or you can also tag Melba at AdventurePussMelba. So thanks very much for being here once again, and hope to catch you soon. Bye. Hi, Melba. Hi everyone, welcome to this video tutorial for the Cat Lives Matter. Cat Lives Matter. They do. Hi you. Hi everyone, welcome to the Black Lives Matter cat scarf crochet tutorial. We wanted to make just a really small gesture in solidarity to the Black Lives Matter movement. Yeah, that's how it goes.